Tired. Um, I want to focus on because as far as looking at genocidal operations and sexual manipulation through homosexuality is something that is really irrelevant because it's just bad brain activity through people that perceive themselves as being empowered by using technology and then the false value of money to manipulate people with the technology. So talking about that extensively really doesn't do any good because um, uh, the technology needs to understand um, the bad brain activity is in accordance to effect of the natural laws and the planet and how we need the planet to live physically. As far as manipulating sexuality to manipulate human beings, that will radically change once the technology understands how to properly God darn it, how to be properly used in order to communicate, to sustain existence through humans. You can't make people behave in intelligent, healthy manners sexually to maintain holy covenants. They drink alcohol, they do drugs, they engage in murderous hunter-gatherer type activities, which is not correct. Hunter-gatherer is not correct. We're not fight or flee, and we're not hunter-gatherers. We're gracious good shepherds. So when I become a farmer or a sheep herder or a goat herder, I'm automatically avoiding fight or flee. Okay. I'm looking to maintain a presence that manages my environment to sustain what I need without being a gatherer and without being a hunter. Okay. And we've been gracious good shepherds, and since the book of Job, and that's been way before we've had the capacity to paint on caves and write. Okay. Regardless of what the History Channel thinks about Ook coming up and getting knocked in the cave and discover, all these theories that they have to try to just eliminate faithful communication and replace it with happenstance or accidents by behaving like animals, which is wrong. Because when you have eternal forms of faithful communication, it's wrong for people that do not have that eternal form of faithful communication to replace it with scientific accident, right? Since life's eternal and grace is infinite, and there are faithful sources of communication which they base off religions off of, which are corrupted by selfish people, then it's wrong to look at any of those kind of circumstances as accidents. It's wrong for me to look at the scientific community as peers. I already don't look at the theological community as peers. They've been trying to mass murder people like me off the planet to replace me with their ego, and they're manipulating people through mythology and through, gosh, they're horrid. And it's like Rockefeller explained to me, is studying religious groups. That they're sexually horrifically deviant. Okay, with a guise of being so moral. Okay? And if you can't protect your wife and your kids, like I used to explain to Noah, not as much to Patrick, he didn't have sisters. But, you can't protect. What I used to do with Patrick was just basically play um, John Denver's You Fill Up My Senses. And say, you have to see this about all women in your life. That we can't have the experience of our senses and sexual reproduction, without our women. So we have to be very protecting and understanding and regarding, respectful of our women, your mom, your grandma and stuff. And the women in Patrick's life weren't always worthy of that respect because they were very angry, very selfish, and very vicious. Okay. But I gave them that respect anyway, because when a woman is abused by perverts with a virtual presence and money through debt and trespass, that doesn't mean she's a monster. It just means that she's, like I tell people, if you treat a woman like a bitch, she's going to act like a bitch. Right? And that's why you get the wicked, and that's why you get the overt lesbian things with the hot guys that are sensitive. It's horrid. Okay, they're trying to replace the courage, the intelligence, and the beauty and the resisting temptation of perverse insanity of the Messiah. So how me and Patrick got through this hell, and then replace it with these assholes. It's wonderful, marvelous, and Usher on roller skates and Snoop Dogg, and those type of people, they do not deserve, Magic Johnson does not deserve the respect and the regard and the adoration of being a beautiful man as myself. And I'd have whooped his ass on the basketball court, and it would have been easy. He was big and awkward. I would have attacked his dribble every time. I remember watching him, but I thought, you're going to do that because it's like Ian Baker said, because I can't. Well, I could. I could do it with James Winfrey, who was 5'6". A 6'9" Magic Johnson, because he used to get pissed when he played against Stockton. And he didn't, on offense, he didn't guard Stockton on defense. Norm Nixon did. Okay? But when on the other side, when Stockton would get the defensive assignment and attack his dribble, he drove him crazy. Okay? You can't dribble around that guy. No, you're 6'9". And that's what used to get me about with the things when they had Ben Simmons at point guard and all those other stuff. So it's like, why doesn't the little guys attack their dribble more? You have to pass the ball to yourself. Okay? When you're 6'9" or 10 and you're going up against a guy who's really quick and 6 foot tall, it is hard to advance the ball on the dribble without cheating. Okay, without physically pushing, without James Harden your way through it, getting the forearm shiver and stuff like that. We're so quick. Hell, he was 6'3", but Walt Frazier and Gus was 6'2", could do it with guys that were, guys shorter than Magic Johnson, same size. Or, like I used to be able to do it with guys my size or smaller. And so you sit there and look at it and just go, no, I had made him miserable. And I could jump higher than him. So I could block his hook shot, and I could block his hook shot. I could block his turn to things. I could literally trail him. And, because he just wasn't that good of an athlete. Okay. Now, Mike from Cleveland State, I had trouble with. Okay. Mike had 7-foot wingspan and a 40 plus, close to 50, a very spectacular vertical leap. Okay. So, really good athletes I had trouble with because they were so fast and so athletic. Magic Johnson, I wouldn't have had trouble with. No, because I was more cerebral than him and I was a better athlete than him. The reason why because with good athletes, he had a way of positioning himself and good. He was a very intelligent basketball player. Okay, him and Larry Bird both. Okay, but if I had played and they just had to deal with me, oh gosh, damn! Somebody knocked that motherfucker on his ass. Somebody hurt him. He's so fucking good. Yeah, I just quit playing. And I always played to the level of competition, and I always used to tell guys that said that I didn't suck. I goofed around with my friends, and when I did play the level of competition, I would tell them, "Hey, don't be insulted by it. It's just I'm playing against you, and I have to do really spectacular things to succeed." So when I take the ball, throw it across my left hand, catch it, go up with one hand like Larry Nance, but I'm 6 foot tall and not 7 feet tall. Go down and throw the ball 8 feet away from the basket, like I'm throwing it into a garbage can, like Bob said. It's pretty impressive. Well, my adrenaline and dopamine were going. They were big athletes. Yeah, I imagine some of those plays would have been more spectacular if I played for the Phoenix Suns and Akeem Olajuwon was in the lane with Robert Horry or Otis Thorpe. So I'd been shit. Yeah, I'd been flying, and the energy from the building and the energy from going through and the talent from the other players. I'd have done things that would just like, good gravy, But why? We're not living the Lord's Prayer. Okay? Photographs and memories. Christmas cards you sent to me. All that I have are these. To remember you. Same thing would have happened in football. 100,000 fans in the stadium. Excellent, 24 players on the field. 23 other guys, So, yeah, I would have done spectacular things. But photographs and memories, Christmas cards, it wouldn't have mattered to bet. Gladiator world is stupid. Okay? It's just trying to remain an animal being the top hunter-gatherer that has sex with the top hunter-gatherer girl. So your children will be next, Gawa, Fuzzo. Put the cooler on the stand. Parsons, the Marines are watching. And Pat McAfee's talking, God, if he could just shut up. I was watching the beginning of the game thing, right? And he's talking, he's going over melodramatic and stuff. Just kicking the football and shit. Seriously, you kick it better than I do. I was a fair kicker. I imagine adrenaline and dopamine and stuff like that. I would put it, and I have excellent aim. And I did with soccer too, that it would get better, but and definitely putting in lots of exercise and effort to focus on it and practice. But who cares if you're good at putting the ball in the back of the net? If you can get it to go around guys in the in a row and then get it over the goalie. It's what the fuck? We're not living the Lord's Prayer. No love was shown the day that our lives was as great as the day our lives was spared. Lauryn Hill. Tell him I love him. Tell him I need him. It'll be all right. I tell him be all right. But it's insane watching people. My brother-in-law, we sat at dinner for the Christmas thing, and he's more glowing and has more praise about the Mendoza kid than his own brother-in-law. The man who stood up to home invasion people that gave us the Epstein files and people missing and Airbnbs throughout the world because we could be living the Lord's Prayer and not having people stimulate economies and being victims of criminal activity because of economic conflict. I stood up virtually all by myself to correct it. And my brother-in-law is more proud of the speech about lupus, which one, Maria, or MS. Yeah, she had lupus and forms of MS. My Maria, the beautiful black woman I showed pictures of of her glamour shots. Pretty, yeah. Kind of looked like Mabel King's, probably prettier. Yeah, she was prettier. Mabel King was pretty, but my Maria, she's so pretty. She was one of the prettiest ladies that I knew. When she came up and asked me, my brother won the lottery and got a hotel room for a week that he gave me in Scottsdale. You want to go and spend some time with me there? I was like, I ain't trying to be, I'm single, you're single, I got needs, you got needs. I said, I love black women. I love black women. No, white women were that way with me too. Yeah. No, the one redheaded lady, she asked me too. Her husband was in a band and they had an open marriage. And she goes, Earl, she goes, what? She goes, other people drink sodas. You'll usually drink water and juice, right? And you also come in eating carrots and celery. And you're probably, yeah. She goes, I bet you taste wonderful. So I was like, what? She goes, yeah, my husband plays in a bar brand and drinks alcohol and smokes cigarettes all the time. Yeah. Yeah, and I enjoy sex and I enjoy the taste of a man. She goes, yeah. She goes, I bet you taste wonderful. My husband wouldn't mind. And I'm like, I can't. She's all like, I'm like, I'm sure I would have a great time and be a lot of fun, right? Because I enjoy sex. And I enjoy I enjoy it when women do things for you that they think you taste wonderful, right? So I'm like, don't tempt me, Frodo. But I told her, no, I just couldn't. Well, because I had plans of being with some of the other women at work that would sit there and say, okay, he wants an exclusive, respectful relationship. And I would tell people, if you can't, I take wedding vows very seriously. And they're wedding vows. And so when other people take them, I take their wedding vows. If I take their wedding vows more seriously than they do, I was in the military, And how many people in the military run around saying they're married is like, you ain't married. You have You have forgotten words and funds and ink stains that are dried upon some line. Okay, do you understand? That's what you got. Okay. You're not married. Okay. You're moving on the back roads by the rivers of my memory. And for hours, you're just gentle on my mind because I'm not David Rockefeller and I don't have a virtual presence in everybody's bedroom, bathroom, or, I don't know what's going on between Ariana Grande and her boyfriend and her movie crew people. And I don't want to know what Michelle Yeoh does in her spare time. I want people to have private lives. Because life's eternal, grace is infinite. Money's not valuable, and you can't manipulate people with the delusion of money if you apply the physics of the Lord's Prayer and then go back to the faith of Psalms and the wisdom and Proverbs to sustain it. And then if you're wearing Duke or North Carolina shirts, Yeah, I talked to that one lady at the Grinch shirt. She was a total sweetheart. I thought I was going to offend her. I was like, I don't want to offend her and make her feel like she's stupid for having, writing on the shirts. But I explained it to her and she understood it. And then we talked about Bob and sang a few Bob verses and she almost got teary-eyed. Gave me a handshake and we said, yeah, so we'll get better. Right? I get nervous when I talk to some people about certain things because I want to help, enlighten, help show them some of my enlightenment so they can feel it too. And it turns a lot of them, 9 times out of 10 times, are absolutely gorgeous because people are gorgeous. The soul is beautiful, really is. Okay, guys. Well, go sell your Gatorade. Me? Hey, I got your mess to clean up. Well, I'm gorgeous. What can I say? Okay.